Okay. All right. Super. I hope you guys can all hear me quite clearly. Thank you so much. Firstly, big thank you to all these speakers thus far. Incredible insight. I've been following it, and I've had my notepad making notes myself. And thank you to all the attendees who are here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day and your schedule. It's quite a busy time, of course. So thank you for being here, making the time to like engage about the Caribbean, a region that's quite close to my heart as well. Clearly, because my wife being a Caribbean lady too, and my best friends all from the Caribbean region as well. So I'm quite happy that you guys are all here together for us to discuss and engage in a dialogue around this. But I'm getting the ping from the host of the program that time is very, very tight. So I'm going to quickly jump into my session, which is going to be focused around innovation and lateral thinking and entrepreneurship specifically. All right. So you guys can see my screen quite clearly. Yeah, super, great stuff. All right. You can tell in the background, this is my first time using the Zoom background. I tend to use my office space, but I wanted to test out the Zoom virtual background, and it's doing quite well so far. And as you can see, my background is an image of London, right? It's been an important region of my life. And I use that image of London because I want to make a point in this introductory slide. And the point being the fact that like I dealt with my first crisis moment during the first financial crisis, the big Great Recession that took place in the global market when it came to like the year 2008. I personally was working at UBS in TMG, where as a trader as well in that time frame. And of course, during that time period, things were going incredibly well, 2006, 2007, 2008. And I was working at UBS, things were going incredibly. And then we all witnessed that moment when the entire financial markets collapsed, right? Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, all of that they all went just, you guys remember that time period, right? So that was a very, very tough time for a lot of people. But me specifically, it was even more of a tougher time because where I was working at UBS as an investment banker, the entire department that I was working in got laid off. So it wasn't just me that got laid off. It was myself, my manager's manager, the entire building, all of us who were coming out with these boxes, leaving the place. So I got to witness firsthand what happens when a crisis that you had nothing to do with completely changed the entire trajectory of your life. And I use this background of London because that was a very tough time for me personally. And I'm not the kind of person that lives with regrets, but one of my biggest regrets in life, I would say, was when that took place and the crisis hit home. One of what I failed to do was I failed to start my own business, right? Because after the collapse happened, we all got laid off, we all got fired. I immediately went back to looking for new jobs, right? And I was looking for different roles and different experiences and all that kind of stuff, right? And it didn't occur to me at the time that I should have started my own company. And I'm using this time to let you guys know that for those of you who are entrepreneurs, those of you who are entrepreneurs, this is the time to go about things a little bit differently than you've done before in the past, right? So as Christine mentioned, my name is EINSTEIN NTIM. I always put the Kofi there so people know that even though I sound British, I'm from Ghana, right? And Kofi is something that completely puts that in there. For my Caribbeans out there, I know some of you guys know about Kofi and some of the great people that took place from Martinique, St. Kitts and the like, right? But right now I'm the CEO of the global startup ecosystem, which literally accelerates companies and people into the digital age. What does that mean? We help companies grow faster, thrive, and grow rapidly. And we help people to navigate this digital landscape, whether it's to find work or to kind of grow in your own personal career journey, right? But more recently, I also became the managing partner of the Africa Future Fund. And it's a $20 million fund that specifically invests in people of African descent, right? So I'm very proud that we actually had our first 2 investments in July, which I was very, very proud about. But GSC has been the pioneer behind this like virtual accelerator concept, bringing about programs like the Haiti Tech Summit, Space Tech Summit, Blockchain Tech Summit, and many other programs. Like last year, we had about 23 summits all through our different parts of the world, from Saudi Arabia to Dubai to San Francisco to Ghana it was incredible. It's been incredible so far. But for those of you who are more academically inclined, I'm also a graduate of the London School of Economics. I also did my professional education in Nanjing University in China. I'm a Draper University alumni, Singularity University alumni, and currently, in addition to the work I do right now as at GSC and the fund, I also go around the world speaking on topics covering mental health, technology, emerging markets. And I have a huge foray of different logos at the bottom to let you know that I have a very diversified set of experiences, from being a professional rugby player, being a veteran in the British Army, and many other things, right? So I approach different topics with a different foray of different experiences that helps me to go about tackling issues from a lateral perspective. So right now, my aim for all of you guys in the call is to literally start thinking differently about your issues you're facing, about the career journey, and about entrepreneurship. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite quotes, and this is my quote. I've copyrighted it, and the quote is, "Innovation is the goal, tech is just a tool," right? And literally, to kind of dive straight into it, for those of you guys who know, as I mentioned, Kofi significantly represents the fact that I come from Ghana, right? But specifically, the group that I come from within the Ghana region is the Ashanti, right? I'm from the Ashanti region, and I'm going to share with you guys a quick story about my ancestor, right? The first Ntim, right? Jackery Ntim. And literally, what made him a phenomenal person was when the Ashanti Empire was expanding very rapidly, right? What took place was the Ashanti Empire, for those who don't know, was an empire that between, it still exists today right now, but it had its peak literally about 400 years ago, 500 years ago. And literally, what made it grow so rapidly and so quickly was they would have a region dedicated to different aspects of societal living. So one region will be dedicated to fishery, blacksmith work, agriculture, textiles, and everything of the sort, right? And in economics, for those who study economics, you know there's a term called comparative advantage. And what that does, it helps you literally build a strong skill set in one particular area, and that helps you to literally have a stronger awareness of I still having a phone call. Yeah, awareness of my apologies, again a phone call that kind of threw me off a little bit. My apologies there, guys. Yeah, so what made the Ashanti Empire so prolific was by having an area specifically dedicated to one aspect of, they kind of built strength within that foray. But the empire kept expanding. And my ancestor kind of came to that conclusion that he didn't agree with the direction of the expansion. So he was a lord of his region, but he approached the emperor and was like, look, I think we can approach this empire expansion in a different way. And the emperor did not agree with him, right? And for those who know much about warfare and about military history, if you go against, or you share something with the emperor and they don't agree, literally that could almost mean war against you. All right. And literally by doing that, the emperor declared war against my ancestor and sent the army to go against him and his people in that sect. But my ancestor was quite unique, and what he did was he left that area with his region of people, and they went to the highest habitable point in Ghana, which are called the Quell Mountains. And the mountains, and for those who know much about military strategy, if you have a high point, you're able to tackle and defeat a much larger opposition. So by having a high point and from the mountains, he could fend off an entire army and actually keep it going. But what makes this story quite unique is this image right here. Give me a moment, guys. Let me give you a moment. I'm trying to get my screen to be a bit more cultivated. Bear with me, guys. See, Christine has these great lighting. I'm trying to leverage some of the lighting in the office as well. All right. So yeah, what made it quite incredible, the story was, they say that when he got to the mountainous area, it was a habitat of a pride of lions. So there were lions living everywhere. And the story from my family accounts is that my ancestor was this big, strong dude who literally went to fight the king of the lions and beat the lion, and then made that entire terrain his, right? But of course, literally what you learn from history and what took place are quite different sometimes. And what actually took place was my ancestor found out that lions actually hate a certain type of sound frequency. So he had hundreds of his men make bells out of brass and use these bells to literally drive these lions across from the region and take them completely away from the region. And in Ghana, you often see that there's a lot of like in events and programs, they often have these like strings where there's like lights around it. What he did was by having those across the entire region, these lions never came back in many ways. And he made that his home. And literally till this day, that region still stands. The people in the group that I come from, they literally are one of the most wealthiest groups in Ghana. And that just shows you the power of like having lateral thinking and thinking differently to approach a problem and an issue. And very quickly, I'm going to just quickly go through this part. Right? If you look at the image before you, right, that right there is a memory card in 1956, right? In 2014, right, and that memory card that you see 6 men carrying will cost you about over $100,000. The year 2014, you can get 128 gigabytes memory card, but now today you can actually buy 1 terabyte memory card for less than $100, right? That's a 10,000-fold increase in computational power and also reduction in cost, right? And that you can see quite clearly from this slide part, right? And the bit I'm trying to emphasize, and I always share this a lot, that my grandma, who passed away at 105 years, the world that she grew up in and the world that she passed away in was completely different, right? In her lifetime, she got to see a world where there was no cars to smart cars to hydroelectric cars, a world where there was no planes to planes, of course, to jets, to planes that go through the ocean, to rockets, right? A world where there's no television, no phones, to smartphones, and to the internet, right? And I always say that, look, what she saw in over 100 years of her lifetime, we're going to experience in less than 10 years' time. So how are we adapting ourselves to that situation? And right now, I personally see, we are seeing the effects right now because this pandemic has literally showed, as exacerbated and increased the sort of like the proliferation of technology in our lives right now, right? And I use this slide to showcase a good example of that. In the year 2000, to start a tech company, like a legitimate tech company, will cost you about $5 million for a basic website, email, servers, all these things. In the year 2011, that will cost you $5,000, right? Right now, the world that we live in, you can start a legitimate, strong, outperforming tech company with less than $500, probably less than $300 at this point, right? So that's how we're seeing these things change very rapidly. So right now, for those people who are at home, who are trying to figure out what to do, now is the time to start something and build something, create something that can truly make a difference and compete with the best of them. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an entrepreneur who's working at a company, because it means that for whatever company you're working for, you can go about and make that kind of impact, right? And we get to see this in this image right here when it comes to how right now mobile phones are becoming so prolific in our day-to-day lives, right? And the best example of this is that in the year 1996, right, Kodak actually went bankrupt, right? Bankrupt. That same year, in the year 2012, Kodak went bankrupt, right? That same year, Instagram became $1 billion company with 13 employees, right? But the people don't know that Kodak actually invented the digital camera. The tech that they invented, they failed to leverage and utilize in an effective way. And now Instagram is completely proliferated around the world, right? Right. And we're seeing this more and more because in this summer, they're saying that we're seeing the record levels of bankruptcies of companies, from retail companies that are dying to construction companies that are going away, even hotels that now, like, the whole industry just going all over the place, right? I remember when I first got into banking, right, and trading, there were those open cry trading floors and everything. Now everything is retail, everything's on the computer or on your phone, right? A situation where now, look, we use WhatsApp to call our families and friends around the world. We don't use those scratch cards anymore. To now, look at where we're going from cinemas to how Netflix is completely like proliferated around the world right now. Right, and we're seeing this kind of thing take place more and more when it comes to mobile phone penetration. But what's more exciting is in the Caribbean, right? Right, the mobile phone penetration is growing so rapidly right now. So when we talk about people leveraging technology to build their companies, we are referencing the fact that now you can tap into people who can support you with your design, with your websites, with every aspect of growing your organization and working for another individual on your mobile phones. And that's becoming more prolific across the Caribbean, and everywhere around the world that people think resources are quite limited, right? So wherever you are right now, if you want to add value, you can do so, whether it's to start your own company or to approach employers with ideas for them to grow rapidly through digital medium, right? And that's why I'm so proud of the work we're doing right now when it comes to the digital accelerator that's actually helping to accelerate people's careers within Haiti, Ghana, and around the world by using technology and digital as a medium to show people that you can make an impact, you can grow, you can solve problems no matter where you are, and globally, again, no matter where you are. So usually I kind of spend a lot more time going through this entire slide and this entire conversation, but time is very limited. I want to kind of give you guys a quick dose of the power of technology and digitization. And I hope that from the examples of thinking differently to leveraging the tools and resources that are right near you and right available to you, you can use this kind of help make an impact in your company or in a company you go and work for, or find ways to help give support to the community that you're a part of. With that being said, thank you all very much. I hope you guys stay super engaged with this program as this keeps going on. And yeah, I look forward to engaging with all of you guys. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Einstein, Kofi, and Tim. And look forward to touching base with all of you guys very soon. Thank you very much for your time. Bye for now.